Alright. If I sound like this, I'm sorry. I am sick as a dog. And I might cough a lot, so I'm sorry. No, of course. What what do you do when you live in a mansion with five extremely attractive men who were oddly stuck with you, your Ray? Would you like to move on from them? Which one? What if all five men appeared to you different ways where you couldn't make up your mind? These are hard questions I had to consider. It's true. I live in a mansion. I have dropped drop dead gorgeous men, and I am attracted to all of them. Not one, not two, all five of them. And there are brothers. Well, half brothers. But they're extremely close as blood could be. But it wasn't. But it wasn't someone who just derived his looks. Each boy have their own internal charm. Enjoy that. I found extremely amazing witnesses. There were so many reasons why the boys are streaming themselves into my heart. I mean, it wasn't like they were making it easy for not to fall in love with each one of me brotherly anyways. James, the picture image of gentleman referees a partner. He led the change to take care of the house and manage my grandfather's garden. It was the CEO at the same time. He was definitely a leadership, yet treats me like a true power of the house. Eric, masterful charm, easily sways me, keeps me flustered and giddy with every compliment he shows me with. He has the fashion designer, but my imagination would run while thinking of him in a towel, or less. Still, behind the charm mask, I knew a sweet man hiding away, eager to simply see me smile. Ugh. A strong man, Sam was surprising to me. While he was rough and tough on the outside, he's more, when you know, the more you know him, the sweeter and gentler he became. Not many would believe how tender he was, but I was the lucky ones that attracted him, increased, and saw him put as a policeman uniform for the first time. Then there was Matthew, a sweet, playful man. He somehow made me feel like a teenager again, with how much he made me smile. Yet, despite of his youth behavior, he was much more mature than the one who believes in the first glance. But turns the corner, being the most charming boy of the bunch, Damien. Whoops. He is a particular image of the innocent and naive, but he still stands on his own 2 feet as a man. He's extremely emphatic, but that could be because he is mind reader ability. Five boys, five paths to take. Yet I stood across, not knowing what I want to pick anyway. How could this be? I need to choose it eventually, right? Right. Excuse me. I sat on my bed one morning, contemplating my own increase in my matter. Everything social discussion, I knew my humanity and my model screamed at me. I make a choice. Ooh, I truly fall for it. I fought the idea for a long time. Yet I doubt the social community may be well. I found myself adoring each boy on their own unique reasons. Choose between them seems an impossible idea. What if I figured my personality type of guy? Was there more gentleman than a laid-back personality? Did I want more older acting partner or a young acting one. Someone who is rough or gentle. That sounds wrong. I like them all equally. I was pretty much open to terms of romance. Not that that's what I was picky by any means, but I wasn't the one to judge favorites. She spelled favorites wrong. Anyways, anyone based on who they were, how low they act, if I like them. I like them, period. If there is no reason to hate one or to focus on loving each other, that's idiotic. I like them all. Of the boys and it. And it's logical for me to try to drive them each figuring out who's my soulmate or not. Do I have to? What do I want? I was still questioning myself, learning my heart slowly and surely. What if my heart... I shook my head in sight, unable to answer my thoughts in the matter. This is ridiculous. I even could figure out now. There seems no rush in the matter. The boys were happy to live with me regardless. Yeah, everything's fine for now. Don't say that. That's a bad idea. I stretched my arms above my head and laid back out of my yard. Laid out of the yard. I can't talk. Finally ready to get out of bed, prepared for the day. After all, either or not, I was in a relationship. I still had a day, live my daily life. And thus, may begin. Goddamn. After getting dressed and walking down the stairs in the dining room, once again I was greeted by a plate cover, a silver dining dome. Oh my god, my voice. I could only smile. The boys always made breakfast for me each morning before they go out. Since I was in college and making online classes, I got to stay home, my comfort pillows. It was pretty refreshing in the morning. I sat down and ate it with greed. It was by shining a silver plate, hiding my morning meal, filling with covers. The smell of delicious food rushed through my nose and complete command and warmth. I couldn't deny myself to dig in. I took my time digging in, using my phone to watch some videos on YouTube. However, I browsed for, and a string caught my attention. No way. I clicked on the video, loaded the play live. Watching a pretty view sat across as an incubi mid-view.
Are you sure you can't spill any special secrets waiting for us from Anderson Toys? I'm sure kids all around the world are dying to know what is the next toy line to be excited for.
I've said all I can say about our future endeavors.
Ha ha ha! Endeavor!
All right. Still, I'm sure there's one thing you could answer. Our viewers are dying to know more about you.
And what would that be?
Is there anyone who has, caught your eye, per se? A special someone?
I stared at my phone and all out of the blur question. The host is seriously asking James what interest in someone, and I live it in the matter. He's a CEO. He has drove to such question, hasn't he?
I mean, come on. You're currently the owner of a Fortune 500 company, listed as #1 on the Forbes 30 Under 30 list, and are in the running to be the next sexiest man alive. We gotta know.
I rolled my eyes and continued eating, tempting to change the video or something. That's the credit. Before I could, I stunned what he replied.
Well, I mean, there is someone whom I've been interested in for a while.
What? Wait, what?
Ooh, really? Can we know a little more about this mysterious lucky person?
Well, they are quite magnificent in their own right.
No!
They're generous, kind, and yet they know how to hold their own when things get tough.
Sounds like a wonderful person. I felt a little upset James had really found someone like that. It maybe because he was a wonderful CEO in another company he met during the business trip, or maybe it was a CEO company for a game. I couldn't deny the pain, the sadness, and the idea he wouldn't someone possibly, no matter how much I adore him. It wasn't fair. It wasn't fair to just claim him. It the same was this said to me. I never wanted me to has him. I still adore his brothers the same as the other. It took me a moment to recognize my thoughts and matter. Claiming seems wrong, but sharing.
However, it will be up to them whether or not our relationship goes forward.
Ooh, what does that mean?
Well, I'm not the only one who favors them. Let's go with that.
So someone else is popular, huh? That seems been any celebrity alive. Any major for the person who was James Circle was listed portrait interest. I had to be happy for him. Well, I expect the full upset idea. It seems to lean more forward. Understanding? Self-lack of knowledge?
They must be very lucky to be so well liked.
Indeed. We care for them very much.
Now, hold on. You said we. Does that mean you know your romantic rivals personally? Like, are they your friends?
But,
My video stopped, but my phone called to pause in the context. Sam's number was on the screen. I took a breath and slightly scaled the James interview before answering. Sam?
Hey, doofus. Got a preference for dinner?
Not really. I just started eating breakfast. Weren't you supposed to be working? I suddenly hid my breath in the end, confusing me even further.
Hey, was breakfast good? Damien and I worked really hard on it. Hey, give me back the phone, runt! Phone's off.
I'd like to know if it was good.
Matthew? Damien? Were you guys supposed to be at work for all of you?
Oh, well, all of us took the day off. Well, except for an interview James had on some YouTube channel or something. Anyway, we're all home today, so we figured let's have an epic dinner.
Oh, that sounds like a nice idea.
Yes, it is. We're at the store now, so we wanted to ask for your input before we bought anything.
Oh, that's sweet. Thank you. I was back and relaxing the idea that having grateful dinner for the boys. It's been a while since we sat together and eat. As each us have different schedules. It was expected, of course, given the range of the job boys had. Let them know my preference. I couldn't help be excited for the night idea of 5 boys at one sitting would be nice.
Sounds good. Be back home soon.
I hanged up and smiled, but my smile quickly faded. The life stream came back at the shocking reveal.
Well, I hope for the best for you, Mr. Anderson. You and your brothers are fine gentlemen, and the lucky suitor will have a hard time picking who to be with. Am I right?
Wait, James and his brothers? All of them? They're seriously like the same person? Oh god, I can't do that. I feel of confused washed over me. I knew it. Logically. I probably just had much of a chance against whoever they were just feeling for. I had the feeling for. I barely saw them especially for when each of them came back home or had a day off. Who could have forgotten it? Who has gotten their attention? It wasn't a matter of dominance, but a matter of curious. However, the smallpox does flicker in my mind. Well, I probably someone chose out of all of them. What would compares of them fond of? The hair of the back of their neck. The hair of the back of my neck rose at the thought of the demons portraying as seducing them. It wouldn't be surprised. Being at a demon's their dorm, the world of incubus and succubus were a common breed. Demons attracted them? What are other powerful humans that took them in charm? I felt bittersweet, almost sad, imagining the same person. I was close with the boys, but just because I was close doesn't mean I prevent over the affection. If someone else has predators, then it wasn't on me. It changed my mind. I felt hopeless the rest of the day, hiding away in my room, studying studying until dinner. I've gotten the major of my studies projects done with the span of the day before hearing a knock on my door. Who is it? Like it mattered.
Eric, Your Highness.
I smiled out of the hobby and my nickname. It was sweet, held regardless how much the title gave me. Come in. Hi, Eric. The door opened indeed arrived. Eric, with a charming smile, I turned my desk and smiled back in kind. Guesses as he came to my room. What's up, Eric?
Dinner's almost ready, Your Highness. The others are cooking and setting the table, so I took it upon myself to inform you.
Thank you, Eric. I appreciate it. I stood up from my seat, feeling hungry. Finally hits my stomach. Began to walk my room with Eric's step behind.
May I ask you something, Your Highness?
Of course. What is it?
Is there something bothering you?
I stopped and turned to look at Eric in surprise. What brought that question? What do you mean?
Well, you've been in your room most of the day. We were concerned, but we didn't wish to disturb you if you were working on something important.
Eric held his hand to me, offering it to help the measure its sense. Should I tell him? I trust him the rest of the incubi. But does he really have to know? I still didn't even know what I was feeling. It was something I had to figure out on my own. I was strong enough and smart enough to eventually know over time. I want something outside of more, yet was I ready to attempt? I was in a place of try. That was something I had to figure out eventually. It's nothing really. Just something I had to deal with. That's all. Still, I took my hand and gave him a small squeeze, embracing him. It's all right, really. Thank you, though, for your concern. That's not nice. Eric stares at me, softly worried expression, and nod his nonetheless. What? He brought his hand to kiss over my knuckles, respect before releasing a nod.
Very well, Your Highness. To dinner?
I nodded in return and went off to the dining room for dinner. My boys! My boys! I was greeted by an amazing smell and smiles from the rest of the incubis. The table was set full of delicious food to eat, which made my empty stomach grow louder. Oh.
Someone's hungry.
Shut up.
I feel you, though. Cooking all this was torture on an empty belly.
It's all amazing, though. I can't wait to eat.
I agree. I sat down, grounded on the head of the table by Eric, as I watched the boys finish setting up the table. As I sat down by one by.
Finally. Ooh, dinner looks good, Matthew.
Thanks. James and Damien helped out a lot.
Oh!
It was a successful group effort, but let's not keep our stomachs waiting, shall we?
The boys looked at me as though they want me to give an okay. Sorry, why me? Regardless, I grabbed my plate and began to filling it with food salvation in me. Given psychosis start. Let's eat! Excuse me. I'm sorry. At the moment, we each began to pass around filling plates with food before digging in straight in. I don't know that word. Every bit of mentally drowned myself, enjoying a rush through my body. The boys are excellent at cooking. I mentally note one day I asked for the recipe for the dish, and I really enjoyed. But I stopped and I thought why I need to ask them the recipe if I could cook for them. I mean, it was good to learn, but I imagine asking the recipe to give me a cooler reminder of what they couldn't stay forever. I don't like that. They had to move on with their lives. one day. It wasn't fair for them to keep coping here and the rest of their lives. Besides, it's no good to stick around here if they're romantic outside of the mansion walls. Suddenly slipped my mind as far as slowly eating it past as the boys started conversation something.
Huh? Hey.
Oh shit, I forgot. Damien's a mind reader, I forgot. I start staring at my plate, not getting any more upset in my own heart. I have feelings for all the boys, and yet I couldn't be selfish at all of them. Keep them all. It wasn't fair for them.
Hello?
I focused chewing on my food, trying to block my mind, screaming at me to make a choice, to swell in the fact that I couldn't have the boys. All of the period they wanted someone else.
Doofus!
I snapped out of my thoughts, suddenly dropping my fork and my plate. Shook my head. It seemed all 5 boys staring concerned. Fuck. Oh, hi. What's up?
Is everything alright? Is the food not to your liking?
We can make you something else if you want.
Please, tell us.
Ah! They seemed to stare at me, enduring care. I was because I truly did care, or I was caricatured doubt. They were apparently my own. To save them, my mind began to doubt myself, despite the answer to be clear. I didn't know what to think. I didn't know what to think. My mouth decided to act on my own. Who do you all like? Fuck! I suddenly covered my mouth in horror at the sight. I let it slip. Jam's interview bothered me. My own heart bothered me. I needed closure to stop it. Myself, the doubt. The guess is my own sanity immortal. The boys stared with wide eyes at me, surprised, stunned, probably questioning. They didn't have the answer. It wasn't the wonder of my parents. I knew it. James, however, cleared his throat, catching the attention, cutting through the awkward silence.
May I ask what brought this on?
Oh, fuck! I glanced, stumped at the chair, ashamed to bring the subject up. I saw your interview today. The host grudged the person you liked. Since appeared the host thought you liked the same person. I guess I was curious. The boys looked at James and switched the gaze in the code part. Damn it! Sorry, it's nothing really. It's just...
No, Highness. I believe it's fair you should know.
Huh? I stared at Eric as he ran his hand through his hair and stared at his brother's seriously gaze.
We are all indeed infatuated by the same person. It's rather peculiar, as we had assumed all of us would have different tastes.
Yeah. It's kind of awkward. But it's kind of unavoidable at this point. After all, we may be different, but our feelings are pretty close to the same.
It's been difficult. Sam and James almost got into a fight about it.
He started it. I did it for once.
Still, it's been rather hard for all of us to come together about it. At least, until now.
So now, what do you mean? The silence claimed the air again. Still from the awkward topic, an unsure feeling I was having. Sam growled and stood up, looked over at his brothers, and almost snarled before looking at me.
Fuck all of you then. Look, enough with the silence. We all like you, okay?
What?
Sam, come on! We had a plan!
It's already screwed up, Matthew. Besides, look. It's obviously been bothering them for a while. Why delay it?
Highness, was this what bothered you?
My mind wasn't listening. I was focusing on what Sam particularly said. They all like me? My mind entered my body with the drive, and it was confusing, revealing, and in a panic at once. 5 boys liked me. Why me? They were willing to share the love me. I was open to have them all. I became lost. I leaned back against my chair and stunned.
Hey, are you okay?
Each boy quickly stood up and rushed around me, checking my temperature in worry. I was too lost in my own thoughts to fight back and react.
This is why we go with the plan, Sam.
Fuck off, you weren't helping. This whole thing was delaying the inevitable.
Are you okay? Talk to us.
You all really like me? The boys had moved my chair to the side to face me from the front, each of them of sight, and revealed in my reply, most likely and tried it was okay to nod before correctly.
It's been a bit of an ordeal amongst us. After all, we were never fans of, well, sharing.
However, you've imprinted yourself into our lives so deeply, none of us could imagine ourselves without you.
So, we kind of agreed to ask you about it. I mean, if you knew who you wanted to be with, the rest of us could back off.
No! I ejected my boys, leaning back in shock. I couldn't help it, but I was unsure if the boys if I picked them all. I like that where he's like, I love them all. How hard. I don't know that word either. And truly need them all in my life and my heart to feel complete. I didn't care the social media and other friends love. If it happens, all 5 of them attracted, enjoyed, and adore young men. I love all of you the same. I could tell I stunned the boys with my words. Still, my heart is light and revealed my true feelings. I thought about it every day after day. I still couldn't find a way, the true reason to stop loving any of you at once of you. All of you are wonderful in each of your own special way. The weight pulled down on my stomach and my heart began to fill as I continued spilling out my inner thoughts. Maybe we could work this out. Maybe we could slowly work towards solution. We were all the same posture, after all. Oh, I took a sigh, and all of them nodded to each other. And unsure, I don't know that word. I couldn't find any other words to simply sit the wait. I hope one of them speaks up. Finally, Damien smiled and took my hand and his older brothers.
I believe we can all work this out together.
Ah, Damien, you're such a doll. Huh? James smiled and nodded, crossed his arms.
Well, if your heart says you cannot choose one, and if none of us will back down, then I believe there is only one solution.
Fighting?
If it's as I hope, then I quite like this solution.
Huh. Eric lifted my other hand and kissed it. With a grin on his own, I knew what was the solution. It's just what the solution was. But it seems like a fairy tale answer. Are they sure? Was it really okay? Sam walked beside me, rusting my hair, smirking slightly.
Think you can handle all of us, Doofus?
What? Really?
Of course. I mean, I don't really see a problem as long as we stay open with each other.
I think all of us just want you to be happy, and we each want to be a part of that.
I felt tears coming out the corner of my eyes. It was truly happening. I whimpered a bit, joy and opening, crying. Considered the boys comfort me with a hand on my shoulder, on an arm. Matthew and Damien wiped the tears falling on my cheek as Eric and James rubbed and massaged my hand. In upper form, Sam went for us to pet my head, smoothing in his own way. And Navisha, I don't know that word, and joy running through my chest, and I sat there, feeling lighter than air at last. I couldn't be more happy after all the boys, and they could be all happy with me. It was rough road on a travel on, but excuse me. We can walk through it together. I smiled at each of one of the boys at last, feeling my sadness and were fade completely into happiness content. I love you all so much. Oh, we finished dinner, grinning and smiling. The food were delicious with smile on my face. The moment I finished, I excused myself to shower and dress for bed. It was getting late after all. I simply washed all my previous doubts and worries under the shower and rain. That made no sense, but okay. It was the whole new world for me. Able to love and care all 5 incumbents without literally fighting which is better. James is better. Sorry. Each of them were different and I loved them all the same. Even I had become my first night to be fully in love with 5 boys and I knowing they all loved me. I dressed for bed and practically skipping to my room. I'll only be surprised by room once again at night.
Surprise!
You guys! No!
The bed's kind of small, you know.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Then I guess we'll have to invest in a bigger one, if that's all right, Highness.
That should be easy enough to arrange.
Ready for bed?
My heart caught at my chest. The 5 boys were in my bed and they were waiting for me to sleep with them. I could imagine the warmth cuddles with all of them. Fun night. However, I only thought ran through my mind. We definitely need a bigger bed. Excuse me. Come on. It's gotta be some Easter eggs. Come on. No! There is none! Okay. That's okay. We'll go on to the other one, since I got, like, nothing else to do. Hold on. Oh, wait, where did it go? Close. Okay. Let me change this. Are we good? Are we good? Yes. This one's focusing on Diana. Alright. I never have believed it. Now, no matter how many times I looked back at it, I could have never imagined it. I enter a world now has wonderful magic and wondering it. Became one person. Diana, a succubus? Diana was one who came into my world to change. She was the one who brought the boys to my home, including the incident to change in my life. She showed me the magic in life beyond the human world, and I would forever be grateful for her for that. However, one fact still haunts me. Diana also was the one who murdered my grandfather. Oh, I forgot. In fact, of the compression, she became one human. She had to come to have one human to sacrifice my grandfather's life to get there. It was a choice she obviously didn't want to make, but one she had no choice in the matter on. I felt both pity on her and a small form of torment from the situation. My grandfather was a man, and I loved very much. He raised me like his own daughter, and I didn't get the chance to say goodbye. It was tragedy. Still, I had to understand why I was curious, desperate, the curse of my world. I was truly no other way. Diana, let's go to my grandfather's grave.
What? Why?
I want to visit him. Come with me.
Very well.
Diana was surprised at Beanie. I don't know that word. The spice that held on to place on my grandfather's on the grave. She has already proven to me that she regretted and sorrow, but I could tell she's holding back something. I need to know. It was, what was it? Was that but her brr. Excuse me. Was my grandfather had to die for her? Was there have to be something else she could have done? We traveled in silence in the graveyard once more, where my grandfather was buried 6 feet under. The stone slab was clean as ever, and no one has ever around. Their throat! It was no feeling in the clouded sky above the rain falling upon us. It was solved to misunderstood. What? In the area, it was almost picturesque to stand in a graveyard with an opposite weather was given us. Still, we stood in the foot of the grave, staring at a graveyard letter stone. I held the umbrella over my head as Diana considered clearing the umbrella between her arm and her side. I looked over Diana, watching her foreign vessel, and her hand cupping to became lost in her throats. Diana?
Yes, dear?
Can you tell me what happened? Diana stared at me in disbelief and confusion.
What happened?
Like, from the beginning. What do you know everything? What happened before he died? She did not want it. Diana looked back at the graveyard, despite her lips together into a fine line of nodding, and closed her eyes, embrace herself a story that I would probably did not want to hear, but one I have to bear through in order to seriously my heart.
When I was born, I was brought up to be the perfect princess. I was given lessons on every subject known to the demon world, and studied almost endlessly on harnessing my powers and ruling over a kingdom that would one day be mine. As I grew up, I began to master my powers and eventually became known as the most powerful succubus in the demon world. By the time I was old enough to be, as humans say, a teenager, I was making armies bow to me in allegiance and obedience.
I smiled a bit. Seeing her curl up her lips and grow snoot, I could particularly imagine it.
Down! Bark!
Amazing! That's incredible.
Really? Thank you, Daddy.
Sir, a message.
Huh. And it.
Father?
Well, I have to say, I'm very shocked.
Dear?
What's going on?
The Demon Lord is willing to consider our offer.
Are you certain?
What offer?
An offer that will save this kingdom is there. A marriage proposal.
A marriage? Between me and one of his sons?
Yes, Azair. Are you upset with us?
No. I understand.
You do?
Mm-hmm. If I can help this kingdom by getting married, then I will do it.
Oh.
We're proud of you, dear. We're so happy you understand.
When I learned of my engagement, I became determined. I was confident in myself that I could protect my kingdom and become both a perfect bride and a perfect queen. My parents met with the Demon Lord and eventually came back with the name of my intended.
James?
Resra, the eldest son. It only made sense. He was the one in line to take his father's throne, and I was the only child of my family's kingdom. For a while, anyway.
A while? Diana smiled brightly for a bit, closed her eyes, and chuckled herself.
In my kingdom, the rulers are charged with only giving birth to one child per generation, to ensure that there is no slaughter for the throne. However, as I reached adulthood, I was told that I was no longer going to be an only child.
Aww.
Mother, father, you wish to speak to me?
Azair, we have something very important to tell you.
Important? What is it?
Azair, I'm pregnant.
What? You're pregnant?
Yes, you will be having a sibling.
I was astonished. I didn't know how to act to such news. I knew of our family's traditions, so I was stunned. I was going to have a younger sibling?
Please, say something.
Finally, as it all settled in, I was overjoyed. The thought of having a younger sibling was too exciting to hold in. When I would be in the Demon Lord's castle being a queen, my parents would be able to bring up a new heir to take my place. I'm so happy! This is wonderful! I remember the joyful looks on my parents' faces when I told them of my excitement. I would later learn that the baby would be a girl. A younger sister.
What would her name be?
Orabel. I was given the option to name her, and my parents accepted it.
That's a beautiful name. Diana smiled and nodded in agreement. Her eyes painted on a long, perfect expression.
I cannot wait to see her. When I left, she was still within my mother's womb.
You left before Aura was born?
Yes. I had little choice in the matter. What? What do you mean the wedding is dissolved?
I'm sorry, Princess. The Demon Lord's sons have disappeared.
This can't be. No, I must speak to the Demon Lord.
Princess?
I must speak to him. When I learned of the boy's disappearance and the possibility of my marriage dissolving, I panicked and rushed to the Demon Lord, begging to allow me to find his sons and bring them back. I was thankful that he agreed, and I spent every waking moment I had trying to find their trail. When I did, I ripped it open and came through myself without a second thought. I still remember that day. A gate spell. How could I have been so blind? They didn't just vanish. They left this plane for the human world. Damn it!
My princess. What should I tell the Demon Lord?
Tell him I found out where his sons have gone. Once you deliver the message, go back to Lilith Castle.
Back to the castle? But what?
I'm going to the human world alone. You need to send word to them and tell them what happened.
But what will I say?
Tell them their daughter is protecting them. If they demand an explanation, tell them everything. Now go.
As you wish, Your Highness.
All right. Time to find my husband. I recast the spell and found myself entering a hospital where your grandfather was visiting. As the gateway closed, your grandfather took his last breath and passed away before he even realized what was happening.
How can he not know?
I was draining his life energy to maintain the connection to him through the gate spell. I overpowered his will to fight back, and locked his focus so he couldn't see me coming.
That's underhanded.
That's the instincts of a demon. We strategize and overpower our targets so that we can take advantage of them, human or demon.
Diana let out a sigh before gripping the vase in her hand.
The moment he took his last breath was the moment I realized what I had done and became racked with guilt. I ran as far as I could and wallowed in what I had done to that man, questioning everything I was doing and why I was doing it. But soon enough, I became filled with purpose once more. I had to find the boys. I had done too much damage to try and turn back, so I had to go all of the way. I shook my grief out and returned to my hunt.
Then you found me.
Then I found you, dear.
Diana looked at me, her eyes filled with guilt and
I
self-reflection.
can never take back what happened. If there was any way I could undo what I had done, then I would. I'm truly and deeply sorry.
It's okay. At least I know now. Diana was greatly enough to open up to me about the ordeal. It almost looked like it's heavily weighted has been lifted off her shoulders, just from sighing and escape her lips in my reply. As she looked at the grave and kneeled down, and placed the veils on the gravestone.
I wonder what my parents will think.
I'm sure they'll understand, Diana.
Well, I'll get to see them soon enough, I suppose, whenever I return.
And Ordea. Diana smiled and returned and sounds her sister's name.
And Orabel.
Orabel, whoops.
I'll finally be able to meet her.
However, despite the words hanging on her lips, her hand gently grasped mine.
I still have more to teach you, so I will not be leaving yet.
I'm glad she'll be willing to stay and keep teaching me, despite what had happened. Well, she was punished for killing my grandfather and telling me everything she knew. She was willing to stay and keep her word instead of running away where her family was. It was a bit honored. I'm glad. Thank you.
Who knows? Maybe I'll bring you back with me so you can meet my parents and sister as well.
Really?
For a while, anyway. I'll have to take care of the Demon Lord, since I failed to find his sons.
I'm sure you'll be fine. Ah! That was it? Okay, understandable. I'm gonna leave because I'm sick as a dog.